Haven't been back in a while. Haven't been back in a while. There are no more words to this song, so don't ask. I haven't been back in a while. All right, that's it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It has been a while, a very long while, probably been 5 months since I have uploaded anything, and there's a valid reason. Couple reasons actually. Number one, I got incredibly busy. Anyone who's been following my Twitter or my Instagram or anything else will see a few updates. I did a lot of films. I did audio work as well as acting for a couple projects. Had some commercial projects, had some fan or some independent projects. Did some stuff with some friends. Recently I wrote a 7-page short film for an action friend, someone who specifically works in action, and then have been working on 2 other passion projects of mine. Lots of things. And then I was teaching acting in person, actual, class in person with another acting friend of mine. And then I have the stuff that I do with closing credits, which is coming up next month. I'm doing another character workshop there. A lot of things. Working on some more books. And things just got really busy. I got a lot of projects, started working with a particular client, particular 2 clients that sent me a lot of work, pretty much one after another. And they're actually part of the topic for today. And it was just really busy. And the things that I kind of wrote down, the kind of subjects that I could make videos on, not many of them were super necessary, super important, and I didn't want to just post videos that were on subjects so small or so meaningless or so trivial, and only post something that was truly beneficial to you guys. And so I wanted to wait, as well as wait past the holidays, and then some other stuff happened. It's been crazy. Also, I always knew that the YouTube channel was always going to be off and on, that as my personal projects and as the larger studio projects would pick up and take off, that I would end up having to kind of put the YouTube kind of on pause every now and then. And this YouTube channel has evolved, it has changed over time, and it will continue to develop and become something else as my career goes forward. That's just always been how it's always been. It's been vlog. It may go back to being vlog. It may be more behind the scenes, and it may end up being more samples and projects, personal projects and stuff like that. Who knows? It may not always be the kind of, educational content that this YouTube channel has always been. Also, YouTube started basically... YouTube kind of sucks right now, and really made doing things very difficult, especially for my channel. YouTube had always been cutting down on my exposure, had been not necessarily like shadow banning, but just had not been putting any effort into, sharing any of my content. For people who don't know how the algorithm works, it's whatever's popular right now, that kind of thing, or whatever YouTube would end up making the most money off of, that kind of stuff. And they've also been paying us less, significantly less. And for the same number of views, for the same number of subscribers, basically how much I was making was cut down in half. So they're really kind of pushing the shorts, the YouTube shorts. They want the kind of addictive content that you can just scroll up and keep watching. They want people to like doom scroll. That's kind of their focus. Less long form content and more doom scrolling short content. And that's not really what I do. I have thought about in the future getting an editor to take some of my best content and cut it down into bite-sized chunks and then upload it that way. But I don't have the time, and I didn't really feel like doing that myself. It didn't feel authentic for this YouTube channel. So, long story short, that's why the pause. Also, today is my birthday, which I don't want anybody messaging happy birthday, anything like that. My goal, as I've gotten older, every single time is just to relax, just to be home and just chill, just not have to do too much, not have to work too much. But it also was a day that everyone else in the house was gone. Two of my roommates are off doing another short film project for a friend, and my other roommate, he's off at work. So since I already came in here to do a coaching session with somebody, I figured I might as well record a video. Anyway, considering I can set the thermostat to whatever I want it to be, no one else is here, no one can tell me otherwise. I can be cool, I can be relaxed, I can wear a long sleeve shirt. I don't like wearing t-shirts when I do these because it just looks hacky. It looks disgusting and unprofessional. And I want to wear nice stuff for you guys, but I can't because it's hot in here. I have a little thermometer thing, little digital thermometer. For the past couple months, for the past 2 months, it has always been in the 80s. It's always been 80 something. Right now it's 75, which is good. It's tolerable. But there's been too many times at night I'll be recording in here. I'm in a t-shirt, I'm in shorts, and it got to 86. And I'm like, I gotta get out of here. I'm sweating. It's nightmare. I have one roommate that, because they get cold, and they're not really going to fix that. They don't want the AC on for anyone else. No one else is allowed to have the AC. And so my time in the studio gets shorter and shorter, and recording videos like this is getting harder and harder. Hopefully at some point in time, I will be able to have a standalone booth that I can have ventilation that's quiet and have my own air conditioning unit that in this room. But for right now, it's insane. Anyway, I'll probably put a timestamp right here so you guys don't have to listen to that entire rambling and then can just get right to what has happened and what has changed and how it's relatively relevant to you guys. I was thinking about whether or not this would be relevant to you guys, but I think there's parts of this that y'all will benefit from. I think there's parts of this that you guys will learn something from. As we all know, this channel is kind of a documentation of my progress in my career, and you guys are just along for the ride, and I'm sharing with you guys openly. And one thing that I've always been kind of moving towards, and a lot of people have been asking me about, a lot of people very interested in, which, unjustifiably so. Not as many people should be interested in the topic of anime as they have been. Yes, anime is cool, anime is fun, but for the love of God, you will not make a solid living only working anime. It's incredibly competitive, and it's almost becoming a monopoly with one studio having the most power and the most reach and kind of the most authority nowadays. I'm not going to say their name, and this is both a good and a bad. This is both a good and a bad, because they have worked their way up to this point, to the point that they are the largest, dubbing studio outside of the United States. They are, the biggest name. But most other companies either work with them or don't really do much at all. So it is kind of becoming a monopoly. And they are kind of, because they are so big, they're kind of setting the rules that they want everyone else to abide by, that everyone else should operate by. And this involves translation, this involves censoring, this involves price rates, business practice, all that kind of stuff. And now, again, I'm sure they have valid reasons for why they do what they do, and I'm not going to judge them. But because of this, there has always been this, at least from where I sit, I never like monopolies. I never like one company having the largest market or, almost controlling the entire thing. And I always like competition. I'm a very free market kind of guy. I always like competition. I always like there being tons of options. I don't like there being just one way of doing something and only really one company that you can go to. So because of this, I had always been trying to build my own dubbing studio, to build my company up to the point that even if it's just small projects that is too small for the major studios to even bother with, I wanted to have something that would be an option for smaller companies. There are some smaller companies that, would love to have a wider reach, a wider audience, to have their show or their animation or what have you, or video game translated into other languages so they could reach, more people. But they can't really operate within the rules, the guidelines, the prices of the kind of the big name nowadays. So my goal has always been to have a dubbing studio. And I can say to varying levels of confidence that my studio is now in the early stages of being a dubbing studio. My business name, my personal name, my booth, my office is in the early stages of becoming that. The two big companies that I was getting a lot of work with during the past 4 or 5 months, which almost single-handedly guaranteed me multiple months in a row off just one platform. Despite the emails and all the other platforms, off one platform making over $2,000 just basically through that. And a lot of that was live action dubbing. And some of that was more animated stuff. And it started to confirm some things that I had suspected, started to give me some level of experience in this kind of communication, in this kind of work. I had done ADR, I had done dubbing for many, many years, but I'd never really presented what I do on that kind of level. But there is a couple clients, overseas clients, that, liked working with me and wanted to work with me more and more. And because of my fast turnaround and the ability to deliver the quality that they were looking for, I was, they keep coming back. And I think so far, one of them, I've done maybe 6 TV shows. I've been helping dub 6 TV shows. They're really, really short. They're not super high quality. They're not, and that's not a statement to them, because the studio that I'm working with is kind of a middleman. So they're working with other studios that make really short form content that's intended for, it's live action and it's Chinese, and they're really, really short episodes. Basically, the entire series, the entire season is done as if it's like one feature-length project, but then it's cut into 1 to 2 minute segments, and each one of those is an episode, and it's done in that kind of like portrait mode. So it's intended for things like TikTok and Instagram. And it's an interesting format. It's an interesting style. It's an interesting idea, but it's still needing to be dubbed. It's still needing to be dubbed over. And then it'll have the subtitles and all that kind of stuff. And done like 6 shows with them. And I think each show I do like 5 different characters. And we are, and this is another thing And this is one of the things that I had learned about if I really wanted to pursue dubbing and doing ADR for overseas clients, which that's most of it. That's pretty much what you're going to be doing for Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Indian, what have you, is that there is a vocabulary, there is a cultural exchange. There's a way of communicating, and so now I know for a fact that one thing that my studio will need very soon is going to be basically someone on hand who is either fluent in that language or is fluent in English and works from there, to have as a middleman, because there is a kind of cultural divide. There's a few things that I have picked up. One is with Chinese clients specifically. When you're communicating with them, if you worked through Fiverr or any other platform, or email, any other platform, it may come off that they are very passive aggressive, or they are very direct, or they are kind of cold. That's just how their language translates. That's just how it translates to English. And it is very, it's very matter of fact. There's not a lot of fluff. So you just need to know their kind of the way they put sentences together, how they use language, to know that, to understand the context, and to try to not be as, when I communicate with them, try to not be as, chummy, buddy, using euphemisms and stuff like that. Not to be mean or cold, it's just that that's how they communicate. That's how they, also, just because you're working with one of these companies for a while does not mean that you have a friendly relationship with them. You are a freelancer. You are an employee. You're not, which is, in America, we're a little bit more social. We're a lot more social. We, when we make a connection, we try to get to the friendly connection as much as possible, because that we feel like that's a better communication. We feel like that's a better way of carrying on a transaction and working together, is to be more friendly. But with them, it's more matter of fact. It's more direct. It's, you are an employee. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't be friends with them, and you can't be friends with the ones that you work with. But you want them to set the tone. And from what I have learned, one sign that you have a better relationship with them, you have a little bit more of a friendly relationship with them rather than just a name and an email, is when they start using your first name or a shortened version of your first name. They're more often going to use like last names or proper names in very just professional relationships. When they start using things like shortened first names or nicknames, then you have made that connection. You have made the connection with them, and it's a much more open, it's a much more transparent relationship. Until then, just be proper, just be direct. Not in any rude way, but having someone who knows that kind of culture, who knows that language, that way of communicating in people in those particular countries would help me. So I have that on my list. I know that to go forward, I have all the technological, I have all the gear. I have all the software. I have the live connection methods that are as good and as fast as I can get. I'm good there. I'm good there. I have the know-how. I have the skills to do ADR, to direct, to write, all this kind of stuff. And what I need next is someone who is that middleman for me, that in between, to help me make those connections with studios that have animation that is looking for someone to do ADR. Now, this is not me trying to undercut other studios. This is not me trying to undercut the big ones. But this is what I've learned. And I would, from my kind of 5-month journey building on this, I don't recommend this to anyone. I do not. Now, that's not to mean that I think that anyone who's trying to get into ADR or trying to get into anime should avoid it. No. I mean, you should go in only with the expectation, that it's going to be paying less, that you're not going to survive off of it, that it can be fun, but sometimes it's just kind of, you're just coming in and going, hey, how's it going? And then that's it. That's your one line. Don't go in with like the brightest of eyes of like, oh my, this is amazing. You will not last long. I don't remember what I was saying. But what I am trying to do is to build my studio. And what I do want to do is warn you guys that having a dubbing studio is not something that you want to pursue yet. I don't even know if I am ready for that. I believe that I am, but it's quite possible that there are things that I don't know about yet that I should know, and I won't know until I've made that mistake. And that's part of my fear. But it's also possible that I am more than capable, more prepared, that I'm just, being a little too kind of reserved, and that I should just go all in on something like this. But I also don't want to make huge mistakes. I want to do everything right. I want to take my time with it. I want to build this part of my company appropriately, with the right amount of time, with the right amount of care, and the right amount of, respect. But it is something that I see changing maybe in the next couple of years, that I will probably have a full-on dubbing studio within the next couple of years. And I did not, if you were to ask me, that last year, I'd be like, no, we're probably looking at another 10 years. And it could be in the next couple, from where I'm standing right now. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing, but it could also be incredibly stressful because I'm probably about to move out of this place sometime soon. And I don't know if the next location that I'm going to be moving to is going to be as good as this one. I'm hoping everything goes smoothly, everything goes according to plan, but I don't know. But my final message, there wasn't a solid message here, but I would definitely suggest to a lot of people who are looking to get into voiceover, or anime rather, that, build your studio, send in your raw audio samples and your demos to the major studios, to the major dubbing studios, and just try to get on the roster. And if you don't, just keep doing the other stuff. Keep doing the Fiverrs and the castingcall.club and the Voice123 and all that kind of stuff. Don't worry about it. And if you're just starting out your career and you're already thinking about having like a dubbing studio, which I've actually talked to some people who that's their goal. My cat's being a psycho. Just don't expect that you're gonna be able to do that. It's gonna be more stress than you think it is. And there's some things that I'm trying to be vague because I don't want to be too specific, because a lot of the projects that I worked on with these clients are not out yet. I don't know if I'll be able to share them, and I don't know how the end result's going to be. And there were some times that it was incredibly stressful to the point that I kind of didn't want to keep doing it. But, they were satisfied. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure I'm just, overthinking it. But it's not mandatory. It's not something that you have to do. It's definitely something that you should, hold off on. Just worry about you. Just worry about you. Don't worry about a dubbing studio. Don't worry about getting into anime just yet. You know, wait until I post all the videos that, wait until I step on all the landmines and I tell you where it's safe to go. Wait till that. That's probably the best. It's probably the best bet for you. Because I, from where I am, I can see that will definitely happen at some point, and I will continue to inform you guys as I go on. And then as I go on and I put all this out there, you'll have the information and you'll be able to do it so much easier. And hopefully by that point, the same kind of renaissance in voiceover will have happened. And just as, you know, doing voiceover for video games and animation and cartoon has become, you know, easy and freelance, relatively easy. Hopefully anime will be the same thing. Hopefully there'll be so many studios overseas that are looking for, you know, dubbing artists and dubbing studios that it'll also become open and open market and, you know, also be just as available to the independent side. Because as of right now, that's one of the few things that's not equal across the board. And that's fine, by the way, as of right now. That is totally fine. Because again, it doesn't pay that much and it can be very stressful. It can be very kind of taxing. But anyway, that's going to be it for right now. Sorry that it took so long to post a video. For those who were asking, yes, I am fine. I am still alive. I don't know when the next video will come up. Probably going to be a while, but we'll see. If something sparks, something comes up, I'll try to also share the other projects that I'm working on. Maybe you guys will get some, you know, enjoyment out of that. Yeah, that's going to be it. So thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Totally fine. Subscribe if you do. Bell for notifications. And leave down in the comment section below. Like to see me do any other video, talk about any other topic, or whatever. It's all good. And until next time, peace.